All right. What's up, you guys? Welcome to the Thursday edition of SHARKNEWZ Live. How is everybody doing today? What is going on? Happy day one of San Diego Comic-Con. We have a lot, not really. We have a good amount of stuff to talk about today, though. It is yesterday, our live stream, we had a pre-show, and now today we're doing day one of San Diego Comic-Con. And I could honestly tell you, they kind of tossed us a very cool curveball, and I'm actually pretty excited about that one. But we'll get to that shortly. What's going on, Derek Holloman? Miss, welcome to the chat. And usually Miss is usually the first one to respond in the chat, but looks like Derek Holloman beat you by like a split second. A Romo, how's it going? Chris Yule, Couch Boy, the Loneliest Monk, how's it going? Nice username. We have Ken Tomlin says, had to order the NIGHTFORCE BEACHHEAD and QUICKKICK from Walmart after Pulse sold out. At least I got one, unless Walmart decides to cancel the order like they've been known to do before. Yeah, you know, the problem with a lot of these figures is that because it is the Comic-Con timing, it's like everyone is just scattered everywhere to like a massive influx to pre-order figures. Therefore, you know, for those who don't have any figures, at least from today, don't panic or worry, because we've seen based on previous events of GIJOE Classified, where anything that becomes an San Diego Comic-Con exclusive sometimes goes up on Pulse's website like a month or two later, unless they change things around this time of the year. But last time they had the exclusives back up for pre-order like here and there, like at the most random times. So whenever I find out, I will try my best to give you guys the links for those who don't have anything, but just make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and keep the notifications on, because it could be like anywhere from 5 p.m. to like 4 in the morning. So Couch Boy says, I'm a musician, I'll get my 2 Cold Slither sooner or later, but too cool for me personally not to get. Yeah, I mean, apparently from what we've seen, I have a couple of subscribers that are actually there right now at Comic-Con, and they sent me a message on Instagram telling me that even though they were waiting in line to get I don't know, I actually don't even know how it works, but they said something like they were trying to get their figures too, but even then they weren't able to get their Cold Slither, because apparently, like I said before, I guess the Hasbro team was allowing people to get 5 sets per person. I don't know if that's true because I'm not there, but they're already going up on eBay right now. They're already there on Mercari, from what I read in most of the comments. So, and I've seen it, they're going for like $200 something, almost $300 on eBay. So have some patience, don't worry, we still got like 3 more days of Comic-Con. So hopefully you guys at some point will be able to get your figures. Otherwise, don't stress out, hopefully everything will be well. Vil the Great, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining. We have Mawcom, how's it going with the shark emojis? Ionic Blood says, I got caught trying to pre-order something else. I missed a 10-second pre-order window. Shit. Yeah, apparently even those who were trying to pre-order it said that they lost out by like 60 seconds or something like that. They said by like it was going up a pre-order like what 10 a.m. like 10 a.m. and then it sold out by like 10:02 or something. So Malcolm says, oh man, hoping for you to not cancel the streaming for any reason. No, I mean, it's going to be a pretty short one because it's only day one, so there wasn't too much to go over, but we'll try to, I'll try to make it smooth as possible. Tag Worm, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining. So for those that are just joining in right now, on this Saturday, we have the G.I. Joe fan stream event, which will be held on 12 p.m. Eastern time. So the G.I. Joe team will be hopefully providing us some brand new figure reveals or pre-orders or digital renders or something. We don't really know. Because if you guys haven't seen or kept up to date with the channel or anyone else's YouTube channels, you would know that they secretly and randomly announced Pythona, which I thought was really, really cool, and we will definitely get to her shortly. But for now, let's quickly go over some of the other figures that went up for pre-order today, because there's something interesting about one of their photographies that I definitely want to talk about shortly. And I won't go too deep into it because we don't know too much about it at the moment, but we'll see. Nerd Alert says, what's up everyone, Shark Tank is live. Oh, that's a good name. Malcolm says, the app didn't even recognize me as a premium member. Yeah, there's also people who had problems even being a premium member too, and I know Couchboy even said that he had to put in his number many times, or there was like a glitch in the app. So, however, I did hear from a few other people that it's actually a lot easier when you use like an actual desktop computer. I don't know if that might be the case too, because I know the phone usually glitches more so than the actual computer, but perhaps it'll be better that way. Couchboy says, I've been on the pulse since 00 Snake Eyes. They dropped my phone number out for no reason, rejecting it, then sold out. Hasbro plays games on that website app. It's making me miss drops. Isn't there some kind of feedback we can send to them to like fix the damn app? What's going on, Green Jedi Master? How's it going? Oh shit, you're right. Tomorrow is July 25th is tomorrow. Oh shit, my bad. Thank you so much. I thought it was Saturday. Timeout. Let's fix this right now. Thank you so much, Green. Who was that? Vil the Great. Sergio, thank you guys. There you go. I fixed it. I apologize. Thank you guys. Iron Blood says stream is tomorrow. Saturday is the 26th of Sergio. Yes, thank you, I appreciate that. Oh, it was GL who actually said it, so you said pretty sure the fan stream is tomorrow, not Saturday. All right, thank you. Yeah, so thank you guys for the correction. Well, it's the image that they posted said 12 p.m. Eastern, so that would be like, I don't know, 9 a.m. West Coast time. Couchbo says Pulse. Yeah, they'll have a YouTube links and stuff like that, so hopefully I'll provide that too, but that should be fun. This whole time I thought the stream was Saturday. I don't know why I thought Saturday was the 25th. Alright, so we'll get back to this, but again, thank you guys for correcting me. That would have been sad if I even missed it tomorrow when I woke up early Saturday morning just to watch the damn stream and found out that that shit was yesterday. Alright. So let's go over something real quick. Hold on. Okay. Alright, so I'm on the Hasbro Pulse app right now because this is the best place to find the official product images for the latest pre-orders that just happened. So the NIGHTFORCE, QUICKKICK, and BEACHHEAD 2-pack went up for pre-order today at, what time was that? I don't even know, early this morning. So congratulations to those who are able to get it. I believe on Pulse it sold out really, really fast, but on Walmart's website I believe they're still there. So you might want to check that out. Check in my post tab page for the links in case you don't have it. But they did pretty fine. I mean, you know, this was kind of like a hit and miss for a lot of people, even though on the website right now it does say sold out on Pulse, but some people did say that they're still available on Walmart. So, but the problem with Walmart though is that they also do a lot of cancellations sometimes, or they just, I don't know, Walmart is not too reliable as well. Sometimes they just, I know I've seen people get screwed over through Walmart's website, but the real takeaway here that I want to talk about here is, you know, the photography on all these are pretty dope. You know, you have the NIGHTFORCE figures fighting in the rain. Where is this? Okay, it's down here. Yeah, we got some cool green backdrops and green lighting, which is nice. We have the fudgy bar that QUICKKICK is looking at, so it looks like while he's doing missions, he's trying to eat and stuff, so that's cool. Still promoting damn fudgies. Alright, so here's the big takeaway from the pre-order for today, which was the things that they're actually fighting. Now, I don't know if this is the same exact snake that we've seen with Serpentor, but this one looks like it has more, or maybe it's just the green lighting, but it looks like it's more translucent, so I don't think I've seen the translucent snakes before, so that's one thing. And then we have some kind of dog or wolf in the background, so then I don't know if we're getting another animal, or it could be like any of the other GI Joe animals that we've seen before, but this one looks like it has just, I mean, it could just be the lighting, but it looks more zombified or a little bit different because it doesn't have that timber head sculpt, or it doesn't have that mutton junkyard head sculpt. So that was one of the things that caught my eye, but otherwise I didn't really take too much of it other than seeing like, okay, we got a couple of new giant ass animals that they're fighting, which is pretty cool. However, as I moved towards more of the other photos, which, you know, we have Beachhead, and I love it how they have like the whole misty effect with the rain, so the photography is usually always one of my favorite parts, is when I see them actually do that, so that's usually fun. And then QUICKKICK is doing his thing. Now I think they're building up anticipation because they're fighting something, but we don't exactly know what it is just yet, so that's what, when I was looking at it this morning, I was like, okay, I mean, something is coming, I don't really know what it is. Alright, so then this was another thing. Now, I don't know if this is a reuse of a Dreadnought figure, or if this is already, I don't know, maybe you guys can correct me in the comments below, because I'm trying to, it kind of reminded me of like Dreadnought's feet, I'm not sure, but at first I was just trying to figure it out. But either way, so QUICKKICK and Beachhead are getting to the actual character, but we don't know what it is yet. Now again, this could either be a previously revealed, or I mean previously like created figure, and they're just doing it to build hype and momentum for the 2-pack, or this could be something that we're not expecting to come in the classified line. So I thought this was interesting, at least from the angle that they did, which was nice. So then we got more images of the snakes, and it looks like it might be the timber head sculpt, but at least the one on the right. The one on the left looks a little bit more newish. I can't really tell because it doesn't look like the Alpha Commando timber or any of the other timbers that I'm aware of. So perhaps it could be a brand new wolf pet or something like that that comes with one of these figures, or maybe they're just doing it for the sake of the photography and it's really nothing new, or they just reused like the snakes from Serpentor, whatever it is, that's fine, but something is still coming, so we don't know what it is. So here's the big one. So I don't think I've seen those head sculpts before. So it looks like there's one like serpent head sculpt, and the other one looks more like a wolf head sculpt, but they seem, because of the lighting, they seem to be having some translucent head sculpts, and some translucent hand effects. Now, the figure wise, it's a little confusing because it looks like something we've seen before. I've seen those knee pads before on other previous figures, but it similarly has like that dark blue with a tactical vest on it and stuff. So I was trying to figure out, are these brand new characters, or is this just like an accessory set where you can have alternate heads and hands? And based on what some people were saying on Facebook, they were saying that, oh, these characters are going to be, if it's new characters and they're part of Crystal Ball's minions, or I don't know, whatever you call it, like army builders, or they can just either be like kit bashed figures that they're just tossing for fun, and maybe we're never going to see these be released at any point, or it could just be, like I said before, an accessory set with just alternate like hand sculpts and stuff like that. But again, I was trying to figure out, like, are these new figures, are these old figures, have we seen these before? Not too sure, but otherwise this was a pretty fun one to look at, so I was pretty excited to see, okay, we got something new here, so that's good. Let me just quickly look at the chat real quick. Ionic Blood says maybe a ghost pack, that would be cool. Nerd Alert says that's got to be a Joe pet and snakes look cool. I agree. A Romo says everyone hit the like button. How many do we have? We only have 18 likes. All right, I don't even know. I don't have a stream goal for tonight. It's okay. Tagworm says, what the heck was the dog looking griffing in the thing in the back? Yeah, it looks like it has like I guess like what do you call it? Glowing eyes, but it could just be the editing of the photo. Crystal Ball is definitely behind. It says Nerd Alert, not Mindbender. I'm sorry guys, those characters look lame. Ooh. Nerd Alert is not happy about that one. Robert says looks like extra pieces you can add to other figures. Yeah, I mean, did I read that already? I don't know, but that seems like the case for this. But yeah, otherwise this is, so we'll see what happens with this with these figures that we see in the back. It, again, could be new, could be kit bash, it just could be additional head sculpts, it could be something, we don't really know, but otherwise it's pretty cool. So I'm pretty excited to see where this will go, because even if it's not anything that we're expecting, but if they could at least still give us like I don't know, like cool mystical characters for Crystal Ball, like I think that would be pretty sick. But if not, that's okay, no harm done. So that was a NIGHTFORCE, Beachhead, and QUICKKICK 2-pack. Again, really cool, but nothing too surprising, at least to say the least. So now let's head into the ComicCon display, because like I said, it's going to be a pretty short stream tonight. Hopefully, maybe, not sure. Green Jedi Master says the guys in the back are Retro Vipers, have red knee pads. Okay, yeah, because they did look familiar to me. I just couldn't put my hands on it, so I'm not really sure what that was about. All right, so we're going to head back into histank.com. So shout out to the fellers over at Histank for the images, and the link will be provided in the description, as well as the link that's pinned right now here in the chat. So this is where all you guys are going to probably talk about the set. So they had the Hasbro breakfast where they revealed numerous brands and figures, and of course GI Joe Classified was one of them. Otherwise, again, the part that I'm still trying to figure out is them saying 5 per person. That screws over like a lot of collectors in that sense, and I get it, people want to sell it in the aftermarket, but yeah, I don't know. Jose says, is there going to be a Crystal Ball what knick-knack set? Oh, I don't know. Good question though. Chris Yule says, boo, Cold Slither. Yeah, so a lot of people really did not have any luck with the Cold Slither 4-pack, which is very unfortunate, but here we have the drum set. The logo is pretty cool. We have, what was it? What the hell is this guy's name? Hold on. Buzzer, Ripper, whatever, I forgot. Anyways, my mind is just completely out of it today. I apologize. So otherwise, the Cold Slither is fine. There's nothing too new there. Torch, cool. I mean, weapons, all that is fine. I mean, again, don't panic too much if you don't really see these, just because we still have 3 more days, and they probably will go back up on the site as well. So just hang in there if you don't have it, or if you really want it. Just don't pay the eBay prices right now. Everyone's just on high hype alert because it's Comic-Con weekend and everyone just wants to get their figures, but don't cave into the temptation just yet. We could see these. Sean Jones, welcome to the chat, says boo. Nice. Okay, so everything else is fine. At least looking at them all together, the things that I probably would have wanted, which probably wouldn't be anything too special. I don't know if you guys would even care for this, but I think it would have been just a little bit cooler if they added like some speakers in the back. That probably would have been a little bit better. Roland Max says, "What's up, Shark and fam? How's it going, Roland Mac? Thank you so much for joining." Tagworm says, "I'm really so over the sucky Hasbro and these Slither dudes. As long as they get my 10 Pythonas, I'm good." Oh shit. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about Pythona though, because I feel like I've been talking about these damn dreadnoughts for like since March. So at this point, I really have like nothing left to say about it, because I've what to say, like milked it to death at this point. So Jason Ludwig says, "Why is a classified line so mismanaged?" I mean, it's a pretty hot property, right? Like, I don't know how else to explain it. It's just, I think people are just eager to get their figures, and I don't know, like any other toy line, even Marvel Legends doesn't really have, they have their own fair share of problems. Same with Star Wars and etc. So definitely need the speaker stacks. Yes. See, like, if you just imagine, like, even if the speakers weren't like well detailed, but at least for the price point, at least 2 like square plastic pieces that look like speakers, or I know that probably sounds stupid, but a little extra bonus, like, okay, look, you see the speakers there in the actual packaging. I don't know if you guys can see that in the photo there on the screen. You can see the speakers are there, like they're printed on the packaging, but they should have at least gave us those to toss in the background, because I'm sure there are like photographers out there who would like to do photography and have like a whole stage set up, and then do like an actual concert thing with like a cool display and whatever. So that probably would have been really sick. But yeah, they didn't do that. So I think that's my only nitpick, is not including that. And I'm not sure if they even included microphones, like a mic stand. I don't know who actually has this right now, because I know I've seen pictures already of people already opening up their Cold Slither 4-pack, and you know, they're posing it, they're enjoying it at the hotel and stuff. But do they have microphone stands? I don't remember if they did. I don't think they do. If they don't, that probably would have been a little bit better if they did. Moncom says, "The other crazy thing is that the SNOWCAT only gained around 150 backers on the first day of Comic-Con. Very low." Oh shit. Okay, yeah, we'll end the stream with looking at the HASLAB SNOWCAT. Good thing you reminded me, because I totally forgot about how many backers we had at this point. Chris Yule says, "GIJOE Classified is not treated like other Hasbro toys, Transformers, and Star Wars. Availability is way..." I think it's because G.I. Joe is Hasbro's baby, right? It's their brand. It's like they can really do whatever the hell they want with it. But I think it's because Disney probably pays Hasbro like for all that Marvel licensing and stuff, and then I guess Disney also does Star Wars too, right? So then I think they probably have a different contract when it comes to those, because Disney probably pays like a buttload to Hasbro to tell them that you have to have, like, you know, be on the ball with this, or have these figures out, etc., etc. But otherwise, what was I saying? Yeah, so otherwise the G.I. Joe team, you know, it's like, it's kind of like you're taking care of your own child, but at the same time you also give more favor to, like, you know, like your child's best friend who sleeps over their house, because you want to make sure they're more comfortable than your own kid. So that's just kind of how the weird I see it. Virgos, welcome to the chat, says, "If G.I. Joe is their baby, why do they treat it like a redheaded stepchild?" You know, I wish I knew. That's a really good question, but I just feel like I think they're just a little bit more relaxed when it comes to it, because they don't have the fear of losing the G.I. Joe license. They don't have the fear of I don't know, like stepping on anyone else's toes, because if the Marvel Legends team or the Star Wars team makes any mistakes, I'm sure Disney would be like all up their asses with all this legal crap. So With G.I. Joe, it's kind of like, oh, we made a mistake, whatever, like who's gonna come after us? We own it. So that's just how I see it. Anyways, so let's see what else we have. So there we have the Cold Slither full box set. Pretty cool. Nice little display we got there. Yeah, so I don't think they gave us any, I don't think there's microphones. So yeah, so I think 2 nitpicks I have now is not including speakers and not giving us microphone stands. I think that probably would have been a lot better for this, but it's okay. It is what it is. G.I. Joe has sausages and pink clams. What? Claims? Now we need a sneak peek. Hold on. What about clams? Claims? What did, Hold on. I'm catching up with the chat real quick. Jason says, Pythona, check out her pink clam. Oh, they released her clam? Where is that? Hold on. I don't know if they have it in here, but we'll get to it if there is one. Yeah. More Cold Slither, but anyways, so as soon as we move past Cold Slither, just again, I'll try my best to provide the links and stuff, so we'll see what happens. All right, here we go. Pythona. This was such a, I don't know, this was such a wild card. I had no idea that this was even being made. I mean, I was sure at some point it was. I just didn't know it was going to be now. And it only makes sense for Pythona to be an exclusive just because Nemesis Immortal Enforcer was already an exclusive. Once a Man Cobra Commander was already an exclusive as well. So we've technically knocked out 3 out of the 5 figures, which is pretty good. Because the last two... the last 2 that we have now is Globulus, and then we have the Cobra La Guard, or the Royal Guard, sorry. So those are the last 2 that we have for Cobra La, unless they decide to create some brand new figures that we don't even know. But otherwise, Pythona looks actually fantastic, and we'll get to the figure in just a second, but she does come with all these intricate and unique little insects and bugs and crustaceans, which we've seen in the 1987 G.I. Joe movie. So she has used a lot of these things. I don't know if they included the... I don't know which one of these is the... what do you call it? The thing that attacked one of the Crimson Guards when she was invading the Cobra Terradrome, but... there are some cool looking little squids with tentacles, or like some cockroaches or spider looking things, and then some electric eels. Oh, the electric eels was the one she used on the in the fence in the beginning of the movie, where she came out of that giant ass looking orb thing, whatever that was, and she used it to over circuit the electric fence, which I thought was pretty cool. So otherwise, the alternate hands is fine, and then she does come with an alternate head sculpt, which at this angle I think it's the standard head sculpt where it doesn't scream, whereas the one in the photo she is screaming. And the cool part is, even just based off of the image that I see here, she has like that green slime, the green ooze that comes out of her fingernails, and that's the same exact like acid or whatever that she used to open the whatever that glass that the G.I. Joe headquarters had when they were trying to rescue Serpentor. And then she also used it in the Cobra Terradrome to carve out a very nice circle. That was always one of my favorite parts, is when she used her hands to make like a circle in the entrance, and it was just like a proper looking circle. I was like, geez, she knows her shapes, which was really cool. Here we have the back of the packaging art, and let me just see what the chat says. I am interested in Pythona, says Virgos. Robert says she's looking amazing. Chris Yule says, whoop, Pythona is hot. Laura V, welcome to the chat, says, hey Shark, dang it, I missed that set on Hasbro Pulse. Oh man, it's okay, Laura, you still have like 3 days, or 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, okay, 4 days. Bat and Joe fan says, do you think that not being able to get an exclusive like Cold Slither makes people not want to put money out for a HASLAB? Well, that really depends on the exclusive though, right? Because you have people who just you have collectors who just have the money to buy both, right? Or like, fund the HASLAB and then hopefully try to get the exclusive. I don't think one thing correlates with another unless you're like really pissed off that you didn't get your figures. Unless the HASLAB coincides with the exclusive, then that's another story. But seeing how the SNOWCAT has nothing to do with Cold Slither. But again, Cold Slither is really such a deep cut, right? And you have to think about it as also value, that it's like an iconic scene in the G.I. Joe cartoon of Cold Slither being in a band, and it's like a very specific scene in that cartoon, which makes it a little bit special if you've seen the cartoon or like it, or like that specific song that they did. And so if you're someone that wants to buy it to resell it, that's your thing. But if you want it because you're a completionist, or you just want to have every G.I. Joe figure, or you want to sell it in the aftermarket knowing you're going to make your money back, then yeah, I can see the frustration. The HASLAB though, there's some instances with the HASLAB where they say, where I've seen people say, where it's like, why would I spend money or fund a HASLAB right now when I didn't even get my Rattler yet? Because other people are starting to get their Rattlers slowly trickling in, but sometimes people are just like, I haven't even got my other HASLAB yet, so why would I fund another HASLAB right now? So it's kind of like, Hasbro, get your shit together. So I think it's kind of like, I totally get what you're saying, but I think it just depends on what the exclusive is and what the HASLAB is at the same time. So, but I don't know. I guess it just depends. Like, unless it really rubs you the wrong way, where it's like, oh man, I was in line for like 2 hours and didn't get my Cold Slither, man, F that HASLAB, then yeah, that's one thing. But I'm not sure if a lot of people are into that. Love you too, Jason. Jose says, no, I like the big green celery teeth. Robert says, I thought they were going to stream the band playing. Oh, I don't know. Maybe that was live. Nerd Alert says, you'll see Pythona and GameStop next May. Just wait. Probably in Canada, though. Canada usually gets classified figures pretty early at GameStop, or EB Games, if that's what they call it. So I think that's a Valkyries 2-pack, or that's a female Cobra figure that's in the background, or maybe that's a brand new Cobra figure, Cobra female trooper. Just based off the photo, I can't really tell, but it looks like, the traditional Cobra trooper helmet and all that, like the dark blue outfit. So again, it's pretty far in the back. Can't really tell at the moment because of the angle, but that's cool. Yeah, so the back of the packaging art, at least it's in unison with Nemesis, Immortal, Enforcer, so that's good. Artwork is cool. Box art looks nice. I wonder if all the box art combines together to make like a mural. Like if you put in Nemesis, Immortal, or Enforcer's box art, and then you have Pythona's box art side by side, I'm not sure if it creates like some type of collage, which would be pretty cool. This is a pretty nice photo. I think they actually did a really good job with her head sculpt. And I've actually noticed, I don't know if you guys will agree with me on this, but I was looking at some of the Cobra photos recently, and I was just like, I feel like they do a really better job creating Cobra characters and designing Cobras, and like the design and sculpt of Cobra compared to like the Joes. I feel like some of the Joes could be like a hit and miss. Some Cobras, sure, they're not really my favorite, like Road Pig's face, but sometimes they do like a really good job with some Cobras. And Pythona is probably one of the better head sculpts, and yeah, the whole pinkish, fuchsia color schemes, and she comes with a cloth cape. That's really awesome. And the detail on the torsos and then the legs. And again, this is, like I mentioned in my shorts video, this is a huge deal for G.I. Joe fans that actually love the 1987 movie, just because we never got we never got a Pythona in the original O-ring line. We only had a Pythona from the 2016 version, and other than that, Pythona never appeared anywhere else other than the 1987 movie, because she didn't come in the Deke series. So that's why it's kind of like such, you know, unless you really have an attachment to Cobra La or Pythona, or just want the figure because the detail looks really nice, but whatever your reasoning is, at the end of the day, it's like a one-off character, which to me, because I grew up loving the G.I. Joe 87 movie, it makes me appreciate and admire this figure like a lot, because I spent a lot of my childhood watching that 87 movie and not having a Pythona figure in the original O-ring line. So that's why I think like it kind of hits you like in that nostalgia feel, or like it just brings me back to those golden days of me watching the movie on VHS. So that's why I have like a pretty good attachment to the figure, and yeah, it looks really nice. Ooh, Robert says, let's hit that like button. So we're only at 32 likes. Tonight's stream, I don't know. Let's make it 50 likes for tonight's stream. If we can get 50, that'd be great. So yeah, we're at 32 right now. Let's try to make it to 50 if possible. Poor favor. Face is great, says Nerd Alert. Elvin Martinez, welcome to the chat, says Evening Shark, hope all is well. Did I miss the rage about Cold Slither? Yeah, except we didn't really rage too much about it. We just kind of brushed it, only because I think a lot of us here have been collecting classified since the beginning. So the thing that makes it, at this point, it's kind of like how much more can you kick the dead horse? Like how much more can you beat a dead horse, right? So it's kind of like at some point you just understand that this is just how it's going to be. So it's like there's really no reason to get upset anymore, because it's been like 5 years now and they still can't figure out a system to make collectors have a way to get it, especially like online, and you know, especially getting there. But you know, Vil the Great says, Shark, are you getting her? Malcolm says, Shark, will you be getting a Pythona? So I absolutely will be getting a Pythona, but I don't think I'm going to go through all the hassle of stressing about it if I don't get it right away. I think at some point I will get her. You know, it's one of those things where it's like I'm not really like rushing to get my figures anymore. I'm just going to enjoy the ride for what it is. So at some point I will get a Pythona, even if I get her like a year down the line or like 2 years. At some point, as long as I get her, like I'll just be happy. I'm not going to be rushing to get figures and just so I can be like I got one, you know. So it's okay. I'm pretty content with how I'm collecting classified at the moment. Welcome to GIJOE. Welcome to the chat. It's good to see you, man. Shout out to GIJOE. Jason says, love Cobra La. I took Mickey's voice from Rocky and put as a voiceover for Globulus. Mickey loves you as Coco is in the clam. Is hilarious. Abrama says they're too cheap to fix the system. Yeah, that's true too. Pixel says I'm getting this, but that open mouth head is terrible. I mean, I actually like it. I think it's kind of fine, you know. It just gives you like that whole vampire fang-esque. Even though I don't think she actually used this type of head sculpt in the cartoon, but it's still way better than giving us a normal Serpentor exclusive and no yelling face, right? So I think this is kind of like a step up from Serpentor in the terms of at least they're giving us an alternate head. And even Nemesis, Immortal, or Enforcer got an alternate head as well, if I remember correctly. And so did Once a Man Cobra Commander. Therefore, I'm actually... So I'm actually very pleased at the fact that they are providing like additional head sculpts. I don't rush either, buy stuff in person. I see that in my collection since 2019 is nuts. Couchboy says it's a prototype. I'd bet teeth get capped by final product. Maybe, but then again, it still looks nice though. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I really like the open mouth, says Robot Wars. Welcome Robot Wars to the chat. William Husted said pretty happy with what I get when I pick up the new Joe. Chris Yule says most Joes are molded after real people. Tunnel Rat is Larry Hama when he was in the army. Cobra is written more comic and tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, so I totally understand why a lot of people are not interested in Cobra Law, just because it's a huge departure from like the whole military-esque from G.I. Joe. But at the same time, even if you watch the cartoon, the Joes did face some really weird shit too. So it's not like, it's not too far of a departure, but again, it's like super mystical in that aspect. But you know, it's fine. Like honestly, it gives you it gives you like a whole fantasy element to it. so yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm happy with it. Yeah, detail again, all that looks fine. I really do love how they sculpted her eyes though. I mean, look at the eyes. It looks like it has that whole snake-esque to it, which is really cool. So it has like a whole like gradients of light green light green and yellow. But yeah, otherwise the hair looks great. I'm actually very happy that it is a cloth soft goods cape too, because if they gave us like a classic you know, no cloth whatever, that probably I would have been pissed. But and there are pictures floating online where she does have as Robert Wanlin says, it looks like she has her hood. Yeah, there are photos of her with her hood on, which does look really nice. And again, it's very reminiscent to the intro to the movie. So that works out well. And the box art looks really good, or even the packaging, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm pleased. I have no issues with this. This is probably, at least for today, this is probably the best reveal. And again, unless you're a fan of the '87 G.I. Joe movie and you like Cobra Law, then you know this will probably be good for you. But if you don't have any attachment to it and you don't care, then you're probably not going to like it. But Jason says she has the hots for Serpenter. Those two brats are in wild together. True. I thought her and Nemesis would have been more better. Xeno Prime says Globulus is going to be a beast. Oh, hell yeah. So my only hope in wishful thinking for Globulus is there's two ways that Globulus will probably be made, just because one, Globulus is or should be a very beast of a looking designed character, especially with all the intricate details on his arms and whatever. And then he also has that tail, so I want to see how they're going to articulate the tail. Hopefully they don't give him like regular feet, because then that would piss me off, but hopefully they do give him like an articulated tail, which should add a lot more height to the figure, because it needs to be longer and super duper detailed, hopefully not like just cheap green plastic or something. And then the other part is he does, in the movie, he does come in that little orb, that pod that he sits in. So I don't know if they're going to just release Globulus without the pod, or they're going to give him the pod, you know, for him to like sit on, kind of like how they did like Marvel Legends figure where you have that one character sitting in the tank. So that could be one thing, but otherwise, if not, hopefully something will happen. Nerd Alert says she has an alternate hand to the left, looks swollen. I think that's just an effect on the hand. I could be wrong, but I think it is. Or maybe it is a swollen, I don't know, probably. I think it's an effect, like as an effect on the hand, probably. Monster accessories are a home run, says Nerd Alert. G.I. Joe says far better than Nemesis Enforcer. So the thing with Nemesis is that obviously his design was based off of the Skybound comics, which I've never read, so I could care less about that. However, I'm really hoping that they re-release Nemesis Immortal Enforcer that's more cartoon accurate. Otherwise, that would be a great looking figure in the collection, because although I do like how that Nemesis figure came out, but it's part of a newer modern comic style, and even though it does look cool, but I would rather prefer like a classic Nemesis figure with a little slight updates here and there on the actual figure, but still needs something to cure that nostalgia. Otherwise it's kind of like having two different versions of Nemesis at that point. Ionic Blood says we need 2-pack of Royal Guards. That would be really nice. Although I don't know how many people would get a 2-pack for Royal Guards. But here's the problem. I've noticed a trend that there's a lot of people who, you know, they shit on COBRA law, but then, you know, they also go crazy on getting the figures. So I'm not sure what's up with that, but if there's a 2-pack, I'm sure it'll probably sell out regardless. Because G.I. Joe Classified is one of the hottest brands that Hasbro has. Jason says, I might get a couple of this figures. It is iconic. Very true. We need a retro nemesis, says Nerd. I agree. Robert says the box for Globulus is going to be Cube. Ooh, yeah. Pixel 4 says, what a centerpiece for a collection if he came in a P-pod. Yeah, it has to be in the pod, because the pod is what makes the figure stand out a lot more. Because even if they give him like a what do you call it, a tail that can be detached or whatever, so you can fit inside the pod, I wouldn't mind it. But as long as the pod is there, I think that's when I'll really appreciate. Otherwise, it's going to be half baked if they don't include it. Because again, he uses the pod to freaking, you know, glide around and shit. So it has to be that way. All right, we have so here's another look at the alternate head sculpt. Pretty cool. I love that fuchsia pink color, hair, earrings, all that looks very nice. Alternate hands with the black nails. Good stuff. Laura says the packaging looks pretty dope. I agree. I'm a sucker for pink stuff. The color pink, at least the fuchsia color, is really nice. It's probably one of my favorites. So I don't know if that was Nerd Alert. I don't know which one of you said it, but it looks like it is like a swollen effect on the actual handpiece. So I'm not sure what that's all about. Was that in the movie? I don't even think so. I don't remember. Yeah, again, so we have a lot of the other effects that we've seen here. The clam, the little insects, crustaceans, the electric eels. Very nice. Alright, so here's a really cool photo. We can actually see more of the sculpted detail on the legs. That's very nice. I don't remember what the name of this kind of, it's not veins, it's like, there's a certain word for it, but I forgot what it was. Otherwise, the knee joints look really good. She does have sculpted toes. It looks like she has... No, she doesn't. I don't know why. It looked like the left toe looks like it's articulated for some reason. It almost seems like she has like toe articulation, but I don't think that's the case. The colors, again, it looks like there's more like some black shading inside the crevices of the feet and stuff, so it looks really nice. And then she does have like some ripped parts by the bottom of the cape or the hood or whatever, so that's really good too. Love it. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. I have no issue. I really love it when I don't have anything bad to say about a figure. That's what makes it very cool, because I can just admire it. Beginner Gunner, welcome to the chat, says, evening, I'm late because Hasbro ruined my whole day. I'm with you on that, brother. I'm really disappointed the way Hasbro handles their online orders. I've even considered not buying any more Joe Classifieds. I mean, you can still buy the classified figures. It's just, I think you'll feel less disappointed if people don't rush to get figures at this point. Because we know how these exclusives run, and we know how ComicCon gets very hectic around this time, so... Couch Boy says, no real hair, though. Zanzibar will be weird with plastic hair. Ooh, yeah, Zanzibar did come with that moving hair. That horse hair. We'll see what happens. Pixel 4 says Cobra La Insect Fighter Jet. Oh, I totally forgot about Cobra La vehicles. Oh shit, yeah. The movie did have a lot of those weird ass looking insect vehicles. She needs knee pads for Shark. Hell no, Robert. Robert's got jokes. Craig N says, good evening. How's it going, Craig N? Thank you so much for joining. Migs Biggs the Fun Man says, whenever I see her, I hear the saying, prepare for eternity. Don't give in to FOMO, try to do the opposite. Yeah, I agree. Yep, see, the sculpting, all that looks pretty good. I like that. That's good stuff. Yeah, so it looks like they added a lot of wash and detail onto the torso piece as well, which is really, really good. It's not like a bland, like solid plastic. It looks like they did give it like a black wash to it, kind of like some kind of dirt-esque. So that's good. When do we get Big Lob? Probably at some point. Because when it comes to Big Lob, we have what? We have Tunnel Rat, we have Jinx, we have Law and Order, we have Falcon, we have Chuckles. Well, Chuckles was more of the original O-ring version. We don't have like a movie version of Chuckles with the white shirt and the floral patterns, so maybe we'll get that one at some point. Anyways, so yeah, more photos. Otherwise, that looks pretty good. Too Bad Basis, what's going on, brother? Says, what's up, Shark? Watching from Campfire in northern Michigan. Holy shit, that's so cool. Shout out to Too Bad Basis, who's watching the stream in the wilderness. Or a campfire, I suppose. Very nice, man. Thank you so much. Your family's probably wondering what the hell is this guy talking about on YouTube, but you know, it is what it is. Just be like, I'm a toy collector. But otherwise, yeah, the figure is very nice. I give it like a 8, 9 out of 10. I like it. I have no issues with it. I think it's a fantastic figure. Finally. I think, let's see, that might be it for Pythona. Yeah. Alright, so that's it for Pythona. Shout out to histink.com for the photos. Let me just refresh and see if there's anything new that they've added that I'm not even aware of. Otherwise, that would suck. Nope. So day one, pretty decent with Pythona, so I like that. But now let's head back to the HASLAB and see what's happening with the SNOWCAT. 7,302 backers of 8,000 as of making this video. Wow. You would think that that the display would actually help the, you know, the backing be a little bit more, but Benedict says, is the stream tomorrow? Yes, the stream will be tomorrow. Yes, the stream is tomorrow. A Couch Boy says, when I say my name, I get commercials. Damn. I was totally out on this figure, but I feel if I see her, I may have to grab her. Will, it says William. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, Pythona is going to be a really hot figure. It's going to be a good one. Nerdlet says, did you say SNOWCAT? Yep, that's what it's called. It's called the SNOWCAT. I call it the HASLAB SNOWCAT because it's the slowest funding HASLAB in the G.I. Joe classified history at the moment. The HISTank was the fastest one with funding within 8 hours, and in this one, it's been almost a month, and we're still about like 700 backers away from 8,000. So I know 700 is not a lot, but you know, the whole point was to have the SNOWCAT funded at least by now, at least after yesterday when it was on display. I mean, it did gain some traction, but again, so let's go back and do some calculations, some terrible shark calculations. If we're looking at the tiers, so we only have about 21 days left, or let's just say starting tomorrow, we'll have about 20 days left. In 20 days, we still have to reach not just 700 backers, but we need to have an additional 2,000 backers in order to get that first Arctic Lady J unlocked. And then we need 4,000 in total just to get the bivouac. And then we need technically 6,000 more people to back just to get the Arctic Flint, which is going to be... It's going to be a tough race, tough call at this point. at the end of the day, I'm going to be very optimistic and hopeful that all of this will be unlocked, because there's going to be all that last minute hype and FOMO and, you know, people who are just, you know, allocating funds at the moment. So if you know, we know that the SNOWCAT will be funded. That's the obvious given point. Now the real exciting part is to know, will we actually reach the bivouac is the real question, because I feel like even if we get Frostbite and the SNOWCAT, at least we'll get Lady J in the long run, in terms of the international backers, and then the last minute people, and then the comic book store people and all that other extra stuff. Because we know that once the HASLAB ends the funding, they usually have an influx of numbers weigh in like a few days later. So whatever it ends up, so let's just say, for the sake of conversation, let's say it ends on 8,000 backers and nothing else gets funded. There's a good chance that it could still be like 8,500, you know, but they didn't calculate those prices, those people in just yet, so we still have to wait for that one. Mix Big says, in the last stream, SNOWCAT is not a versatile vehicle, only designed for cold environments. Is very true. Us fans wanted a more versatile HASLAB vehicle. That is very true. You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. Just kidding. Welcome to the chat, says Subshark. How's it going, brother? It's good to see you. Zoran, welcome to the chat, says, I'm here, start from the beginning. No, we've already lost a lot. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, I honestly, like, every live stream that I've done this past week, I assume that we would have hit 8,000 by now, but we're still, you know, we're still not even there yet, which is insane. So I feel like at some point, I don't know, it'll be really nice if we can unlock it just for the sake of getting a new vehicle, but otherwise, who knows what's going to happen. COBRA Nomics, whoa, that's a nice channel name, says, this vehicle is so far from hype, none of it's appealing, absolutely nothing. I mean, my thing is, it is a very nice vehicle. It is an appealing vehicle, and it is pretty iconic and classic for, you know, any Joe collector anyway, but it shouldn't have been a HASLAB yet, or it should have been a HASLAB like down the line, or it should have been a smaller scaled version, and it should have just been like a Pulse exclusive. Even if the price was just a little bit high there on Pulse, at least it wasn't a HASLAB. So then, yeah, because at this point, again, we have to wait till 2027. No, what is it? 2025. So yeah, so we have to wait till 2027 for the next Joe HASLAB, if they decide to do COBRA next year, which they probably will at this point. So yeah, that is the... Hold on, let me see what's happening here. If the SNOWCAT was green, you would all not be complaining. That's true. Chris Yule said he wanted a tank. What renders will we see tomorrow, says Couchboy. Good question. Let me go back. Let me get out of this thing real quick. As for renders, whatever, I'm really hoping, based on the names that we have so far within this list, that we get a Night Viper. Perhaps we'll get a Steel Core Sentry. I think the Steel Core Sentry figure will probably be on display anytime this week, probably like on a Sunday or something, maybe Saturday at most. But I feel like we'll definitely be seeing a at least one of these name reveals in a render form, like Night Viper. Otherwise, the only way they can entice people to back the HASLAB SNOWCAT is, again, if they have to announce characters like Iceberg, not part of the HASLAB, but just Iceberg in general, to say like he's coming down, he's in the pipeline in the future, or just some other characters that would entice people to go and back the HASLAB. So otherwise, I would like to see a name only reveal or digital renders for like a Red Crazy Legs, the original version, or Muskrat, or characters like Tracker, or Psych Out, or even at least somebody from Battle Force 2000, although that's probably wishful thinking. It's not going to happen, but we'll see. Montcom says releasing digital renders, Army winter builders. See, but the problem with that is I don't know if having digital renders for Army builders will entice people to buy or to back the SNOWCAT, because if the Army builder was part of, I mean, I get it's an Army builder, but if at least one version was part of the initial tier process, and I think that would have been great. Otherwise, you know, otherwise it's kind of like a steep slope with this, because they're not giving us any characters that's going to help back up the SNOWCAT, because all we have is Snowjob and Frostbite. That's not even enough GIJOE characters to utilize, because within this next year, because this will be available to ship out by next year in 2026, right? So by next year we need to have at least 6, 7, maybe 8 Arctic characters out in our hands before we get this. Otherwise people are not going to have fun just enjoying Snowjob as the only Arctic character that they have at the moment. And then depending if Lady J and Flint gets unlocked, then that's another thing. But they need to at least reveal and have Frostbite, Windchill, Sub-Zero, I don't know, Cold Front out for pre-order at some point. Otherwise that would kind of hurt. Robert Wantland makes a very good point, saying, do you think they will release a Snow Wolf driver separately like they did with Copperhead? It's very possible. I think it depends on how they're going to, because I'm trying to think, because releasing, that was one of my biggest nitpicks, was releasing Copperhead without the moccasin. And I know Copperhead came out like last year or a year and a half ago, but having Copperhead without a signature vehicle was like a big no-no in the GIJOE team world. They should not have done that. And Copperhead's one of my favorite GIJOE COBRA characters anyway. So if they were to do COBRA, what was it, like Ice Viper or a Wolf Driver, then it's possible, but you know, it is what it is. Then that just means that they're probably going to release another version later on down the line, and then you know, kind of like double dipping on figures, but that wouldn't be too great. But otherwise, as for whatever figures I'm really excited for, just based off of this list, I'm really just excited for Night Viper, because like I mentioned so many times before, Night Viper is, I think, in my top 2 favorite COBRA characters, like next to Copperhead. So I have such a strong attachment to Night Viper and his aesthetic and design. So I really hope that they don't botch this character. I really hope that they don't ruin him by any means, because again, if it's like your favorite character, you have certain expectations to have. So you know, we'll see how that works. So otherwise, we'll see what happens. But Cobranomics, I really like that name. Says Hasbro just seems to be dropping the ball time after time. G.I. Joe June, the HASLAB, the Slow Rattlers, the pre-orders, Nightmare, losing hope in this company. I mean, we still got like a few hundred more characters to go in the GIJOE line. So you know, the GIJOE line is not going anywhere. It's just the problem that a lot of people are facing right now is pre-ordering the figures and then waiting like 8 to 9 months, because people are still waiting an entire year for Dial Tone and Trench Viper and like Heavy Duty, and that's bullshit, right? Because like you don't want to freaking wait an entire year for a figure. The whole point, that how I remember pre-ordering used to be back like before the pandemic, was you pre-ordered a figure and then within like 3 months it came to your doorstep, right? And that's kind of like how they rolled. But with Hasbro switching manufacturers, they switched they did switch the manufacturing, and then the pandemic, everything just screwed up like a lot of things in their pipeline. So otherwise we'll see what happens tomorrow and we'll enjoy that. But when it comes to, what was the last one? Oh, okay. When it comes to the coming soon figures, of course, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. We've now added Pythona onto the list, so that's freaking awesome. She looks freaking fantastic. We've seen Pythona now in original action figure form, so that's really cool. So I have a feeling that within the next 3 days, anytime within the next 3 days, we should be getting at least, I'm hoping at least 2 of these figures out on display. Because if I remember correctly from last year, you know, they had the Hasbro panel and then they revealed like a figure for a digital render, and they're like, oh yeah, he's coming soon or something, but then they automatically had the figure out on display like an hour later. So I'm very hopeful that at least any one of those names that they have will be, any one of these can be or should be displayed. Because remember, I think 2 years ago they had Tripwire announced, and then Tripwire, and I forgot what was the other one. I think it was, I don't remember, it was one of the Tripwire figures. So then Tripwire, he was announced, and then on Sunday he was already on display, and people had already left by then. So so we should still see some surprises within the next 3 days, which is gonna be very exciting. So otherwise, I think as of looking at this lineup, as Benedict says, it's a nice lineup. I agree. This is probably my favorite wave right now. Even if all these are not in a wave together, but in terms of what we have revealed, I think this is probably my favorite lineup at the moment. Because we have my favorite Mainframe, we have my favorite Sci-Fi, both together in one wave technically, and then we have Desert Scorpion, who looks awesome with that scorpion. Grim Viper is a pretty nice figure to have anyway. Wetsuit is very iconic, and then I know I don't really collect Legacy Series figures, but the police officer is still to be determined at some point. Zoran says they need to have Airtight. Airtight would be a very nice welcoming addition for sure. Also, shout out to everybody here in the chat and people that are watching right now. We've officially surpassed the 50 stream goal likes for tonight, so thank you guys so much. But I think I will definitely conclude it from here, because again, we're going to see, I will be going live tomorrow, so stay tuned, because today was more of a lighter day compared to yesterday, but I will be going live tomorrow, and then we'll talk about all the amazing reveals and announcements that they did then as well. So that should be exciting. So otherwise, and Chad Kinsler just joined the chat. So otherwise, I think we'll conclude it here. It's a pretty light day 1, but hopefully day 2 and 3 should be pretty massive. Oh, and for those that are here joining late, just remember that the fan stream is tomorrow, July 25th at 12 p.m. Eastern, which was 9 a.m. West Coast time. So make sure you guys definitely don't miss out, because should be a fun stream. Hopefully they do some really cool announcements, and if anything goes up for pre-order, I'll definitely post it on my community tab page or the post tab page, and otherwise should be exciting. So with that said, I want to thank you guys all for watching. Thank you to everybody for joining in the stream. Antonio just joined. My apologies, bro. That sucks. But hopefully whoever can join tomorrow will be great. If not, we'll see what happens. Otherwise, thank you all for joining on this lovely Thursday. Today is Thursday, right? Yeah. Thank you so much for joining on this Thursday, and I'll see you guys on tomorrow's stream. I don't know what time, but we'll probably do it. Oh, shout out to Jimmy So, who's in the chat right now. Very cool. Spot Jones says 2 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Eastern. What? But shout out to Spot Jones. Thank you, Xeno Prime. I appreciate it. All right, so everyone have a great night, and I'll definitely see you guys on tomorrow's stream. I don't know what time, but I'll definitely I'll definitely stream at some point. So